Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Bishops around the world will look at ways to better protect children. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
Dan Dumas takes a look at the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield. And the story of a flame that traveled halfway around the world. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel as we kick off a new year, 2019. But it will be a theme from the past which will define at least the first few months for the Catholic Church. In 2019, the Catholic Church will see renewed efforts to keep children safe. Bishops from around the world will meet with Pope Francis to discuss the sex abuse crisis and put protections in place to make sure no child becomes a victim. Earlier this week, Carolee McGrath sat down with Springfield Bishop Mitchell Brzezinski to learn more on this worldwide effort to protect the most vulnerable, as well as his thoughts as he and retired Bishop Timothy McDonald prepare to travel to Illinois to attend a retreat of all American bishops.
Springfield Bishop Mitchell Brzezinski celebrated Mass on the Feast of the Holy Family at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield, gathering with seminarians. The annual Christmas tradition with Bishop Brzezinski celebrates the commitment of seminarians and their families who are open to God's call to serve the Church. The bishop then started off the new year attending a retreat with bishops from across the United States at the University of St. Mary of the Lake in the Archdiocese of Chicago. Pope Francis asked all bishops in the U.S. to come together in prayer.
I believe that he called us to get together, to pray together, and to reflect together on what our role is as leaders of the Church in the United States, and what is our connection with one another.
The 7-day retreat will include daily Mass, Eucharistic adoration, Vespers, an opportunity for confession, and silent mealtime. No ordinary business will be conducted at the January retreat. But all eyes are on the upcoming February meeting at the Vatican with bishops from around the world. Pope Francis called for the extraordinary meeting with presidents of bishops' conferences to discuss the sex abuse crisis that's devastated the Church across the globe.
And I believe that Pope Francis wants all of those various countries throughout the world involved so that we have a uniform way of dealing with any accusations of sexual abuse against bishop, priest, deacon, religious, or layperson working in the Church.
When the U.S. bishops met at their fall assembly in November, they unveiled standards to strengthen the protection of children, including accountability for bishops themselves. But the vote was delayed in anticipation of the meeting with the Pope. In late August, news broke about decades of sexual abuse and cover-up revealed in a Pennsylvania grand jury report. Several state attorneys general are now looking into similar sex abuse allegations and how they were handled by the Church. Since 2002 and the revelations of child sex abuse in Massachusetts, several changes have been made and policies have been put in place in the Diocese of Springfield to protect children. The Diocese's Safe Environment Program includes comprehensive criminal background checks for employees and volunteers, in addition to online virtues training called Protecting God's Children.
First of all, I believe that the Church and members of the Church, particularly the leaders of the Church, have to listen with compassion. And so the first real reaction has to be that empathy and compassion for the person whose faith has been betrayed so awfully, and for the family members, because it does really spread out and affect the whole family. So I think that listening with compassion, hearing their stories, and allowing them to speak, and also letting them know that they are believed
And while there's no doubt people have left the church because of the sex abuse crisis, many say it has never been more important for Catholics to be loving witnesses of Christ, inviting people back.
What drew me to ministry, what really nourished my vocation, was the fact that it is based on the call of Jesus Christ. And my whole faith is based on Jesus Christ. I believe he gave to us the church so that we could continue his work in the world until he returns again.
The bishop says the diocese will be holding listening sessions to address the abuse crisis in February and March. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And the abuse crisis will be front and center throughout the new year. In February, the Holy Father will convene a meeting with the leaders from the various bishops' conferences from around the world. In one of his final December addresses, Pope Francis acknowledged the gravity of the clerical sexual abuse crisis, telling members of the Roman Curia that the Church's strength does not depend on its members' perfection, but on the willingness to recognize its failings and correct them. In his annual pre-Christmas address, the Pope was blunt in addressing the crisis, which has again enveloped the Church. He said, "Today, there are consecrated men, the Lord's anointed, who abuse the vulnerable, taking advantage of their position and their power of persuasion. They do abominable acts, yet continue to exercise their ministry as if nothing happened. They have no fear of God or his judgment, but only of being found out and unmasked. Ministers who rend the body of the Church, creating scandals and discrediting the Church's saving mission and the sacrifices of so many of their confreres. Let it be clear that before these abominations, the Church will spare no effort to do all that is necessary to bring to justice whosoever has committed such crimes. The Church will never seek to hush up or not take seriously any case. It is undeniable that some in the past, out of irresponsibility, disbelief, lack of training, inexperience, we have to judge the past by its own standards, or spiritual and human short-sightedness, treated many cases without the seriousness and promptness that was due. That must never happen again. This is the choice and the decision of the whole Church. To those who abuse minors, I would say this: convert and hand yourself over to human justice and prepare for divine justice. Remember Christ's words: "Whoever scandalizes even one of these little ones who believe in me, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." Woe to the world because of scandals, for it is necessary that scandals come, but woe to the one who causes the scandal. And the Holy Father will meet with bishops from around the globe February 21st to the 24th. Locally at Bishop Rosansky's direction, plans are underway to host 4 regional listening and dialogue sessions around the topic of the abuse crisis in the Church. Here to tell us more is Sister Paula Robillard from the Bishop's Office, who is helping to coordinate this effort. Welcome, Sister Paula.
Thank you, Sharon.
Now, why did the Bishop want to hold these sessions, and what is the goal?
Bishops believes, like most of us do, that the sexual abuse crisis has caused great pain to many people. I always say that there really is no one who hasn't in some way been affected by this. I think people still have lots of questions, and so what Bishop wanted to do was set up an opportunity for us to respond to those questions, to give people a chance to pray, to listen to other people, to be heard by other people, to come together as a church community in an effort to create some healing and reconciliation.
And I understand they will be held regionally across the diocese.
Many parishes in the diocese have already had listening sessions, but we're creating for the 4 regions of the diocese that will be listening and dialogue sessions. Bishop will be there, he'll have an opportunity to answer people's questions, and for all of us to come together and try to understand a little bit more about this horrific experience that we've gone through.
In addition, there are other events being planned, I understand, to call attention to this painful issue.
Because real healing and reconciliation can't happen without the help of our loving God, we've planned 2 opportunities for the diocese to come together and pray. The first one is a day of prayer that will take place in every parish in the diocese. We're asking that every parish be opened, that the parish toll their bells throughout the course of the day, so that people can come together in the church and pray. There will be a special prayer that everyone can say, and perhaps parishes will create other opportunities for people. But it's a day for all of us to come together in prayer. And then the final day will be in March. We're at the cathedral here in Springfield and at St. Joseph's in Pittsfield. There will be an evening of prayer and reconciliation.
All right, thank you so much, Sister Paula Robillard, and folks can find more information online at iobserve.org. We have much more to come on Reel to Reel. Dan Dumas takes a look at the latest from the Diocese of Springfield. And as we close out this Christmas season, a story on the Peace Light. It's all still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. My passionate brother Terrence Scanlon, your chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us Sunday morning at 10. We welcome Father William Torigny from St. Rose de Lima Parish in Chicopee as together we celebrate the Feast of the Epiphany of the Lord. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News, WWLP, and coming up next on Fox 23 WXXA.
Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
St. Mary's Parish School of Westfield.
St. Mary's Parish Schools have been educating children since 1898. Centrally located in Westfield, with a successful college prep curriculum, small class sizes, in a safe, respectful, and nurturing learning environment where students of all faiths are welcome, with 13 competitive sports teams, an exceptional fine arts program, and a 100% college acceptance rate. To learn more, visit stmsaints.org.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. Sister of Providence Joan Mullen was instrumental in the renovation of the community's mother house into Providence Place in 1993. In 2009, the past president of the order also oversaw the construction of Mary's Meadow, a small house concept nursing facility. Sister Mullen passed away in 2016, and recently the Sisters of Providence dedicated a new community wellness room in her honor. Dave Martin has more.
The Sister Joan Mullen Community Wellness Room will be used as a quiet space for some of Providence Place's wellness programs, such as yoga, Tai Chi, and other life enrichment classes. A dedication plaque was unveiled during the ceremony by Providence Place Executive Director Richard Pelland and current Sisters of Providence President Kathleen Popko, who worked closely with Sister Mullen.
I think this space is a wonderful tribute to all that she loved in terms of focus on wellness. And as this saying indicates, she loved community and she wanted to bring people together in community. And it was a priority in her life. And I think this room will remind us all of that in the years ahead.
Pelland came up with the idea of converting the 4th floor lounge into a wellness space and also dedicating it to Sister Mullen. Lynn Hopkins, the longtime yoga instructor at Providence Place, is looking forward to teaching classes in the new location.
The residents that do come in, they have a deep faith-based concept about them, and Providence Place nourishes that. And you have the accessibility to be amongst like-minded people. And that's very reassuring, and I think that's very healthy, and it makes people happy to have that background.
At the end of the ceremony, Sister of Providence Margaret McCleary suggested that since it is a community room, everyone should bless it together. She asked everyone to raise their hands and pray. In Holyoke, I'm David Martin.
Thanks, Dave. Duty and service to God are in the promise and oath of both the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. Across the country, Scouting is a part of youth ministry in the Catholic Church. Recently, Scout leaders from across New England gathered in the Diocese of Springfield for their annual conference. Kathy Harrington reports.
One controversial issue is women as priests and different things.
Jim Weiskircher, the chair-elect of the National Catholic Committee on Scouting, delivered the keynote address as leaders in Region 1 gathered in Westfield for the Catholic Scouting Conference.
Girl Scouts who are not Scouts can work on the religious emblems if their diocese allows it. That's a diocese decision.
The conference in the Springfield Diocese has been in the planning stages for several years. Girl Scout leader Pat O'Connor worked on the project.
And it's really a great opportunity to share different ideas of what people use with their youth across the entire region.
This conference comes at a key time in Scouting. In just a few months, BSA will expand its programs to welcome girls and young women from Cub Scouting to the rank of Eagle Scout.
So the focus today is really to be enlivened first off in their faith and in their ministry with youth in their diocese.
Gina Travinsky is the Director of Catechetics and Youth Formation for the Diocese of Springfield. She says Scouting is a form of youth ministry.
Each faith tradition has their own. So we have specific ones that the Catholic Church does, but other denominations have their own set of religious recognitions for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts.
In the Diocese of Springfield, the committee also helps Scouts of all faiths pursue their religious recognition awards.
I've always been involved in my church and Girl Scouts at the same time.
Morgan O'Connor is the recipient of the Pillars of Faith Award for earning all her Girl Scout religious emblems. It was an honor given to her by Bishop Rosansky.
Annually, we hold the annual Bishop's Mass, where the older Scouts, those who are in Scouts BSA and older, would receive awards for their religious recognitions program.
So having pins on my vest that represent that I've learned more about my faith, it gives me the opportunity to share that knowledge.
Catholic Scouts also serve their parish communities. This outdoor Station of the Cross on the grounds of Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament was an Eagle project. And more recently, O'Connor earned her Silver Award for re-landscaping and renovating the parish's St. Francis Garden. In Westfield, I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
And finally today, St. Mary's Parish in Hampton recently held a benefit concert, hoping to help save lives in a remote area of Uganda. Carolee McGrath tells us more.
I fall to pieces. You're good.
Recording artist Dee Riley gets the crowd going at St. Mary's Parish in Hamden on a recent Sunday afternoon. People filled the pews for a benefit concert to raise money for St. Francis of Assisi Parish Health Clinic in Uganda. The pastor of St. Francis of Assisi Parish, Father Adolf Busobozi, a native of Uganda, assisted St. Mary's pastor, Father Timothy Murphy, for 6 years, with weekend masses and vacation coverage.
St. Mary's parishioners took on the challenge of raising funds to build and staff a medical clinic to help out in Fort Portal, Uganda, when Father Adolf was reassigned there to establish a new parish.
So far, St. Mary's parishioners have raised $90,000 for the clinic, which opened October 28th. Parishioners say the health clinic, which is at least an hour away from the nearest hospital, will save lives.
Father Adolf is just so blessed and so happy to have this type of support. He was the assistant parish priest here for several years, as well as being the chaplain at Bay State Medical Center. And so parishioners got to know him and to love him and enjoy working with him. And with Father Murphy's blessing, who's the parish priest here, they undertook this fundraising effort.
You walk by and I fall to pieces.
Dee Riley, who spent more than 25 years in Nashville, was also excited to help the cause. The singer-songwriter has released 7 albums and sings both Irish and country music. Riley is from Holyoke and went to Catholic schools in the Diocese of Springfield.
When they told me about the wonderful cause for the church in Uganda and the hospital and the clinic and Father Adolph and all the work that he does, I was just delighted to do it. And the church is filling up here today for a great cause. It's awesome.
Could I have this dance for the rest of my life? Would you be?
Parishioners of St. Mary's are hoping to meet their goal of raising $50,000 by the year's end. They hope to raise another $50,000 in 2019 to ensure that the clinic is staffed and to build housing for doctors and nurses. In Hamden, I'm Carolee McGrath.
For the rest of my life.
Remember, to keep informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond, log on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic Communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Real to Real news briefs.
Mark your calendars now. The Springfield Diocesan Pro-Life Committee, along with the Pioneer Valley, Massachusetts Citizens for Life of Ludlow, are organizing a pilgrimage to the March for Life in Washington, D.C. Youth are especially invited to attend. They must be accompanied by adult chaperones, one adult who is over 21 who has successfully completed the Diocesan Safe Environment Training and Background Check for every 4 youth. The bus departs at 10 p.m. on Thursday, January 17th from St. Stanislaus Basilica in Chicopee and returns at approximately 12 a.m. on Saturday, January 19th. Cost is $72 per person and payable to R.C. Bishop of Springfield. For more information or for questions, please contact Tim Biggins at 413-525-8022 or Peggy Bradford at 413-583-5034. On Saturday, February 2nd, Catholic Youth Ministry Night will be held at Springfield Thunderbirds. Join area churches and schools for a family fun night out. Tickets are $12 and can be ordered online by Monday, January 28th. We have a link at iobserve.org. And the 9th annual St. Bridget's Mardi Gras Reverse Raffle will take place Friday, March 1st at St. Bridget's Parish Hall in Amherst. The Mardi Gras-themed evening begins at 6 p.m. and is a fundraiser for the parish. It will feature a social hour, dinner, and an evening of prize drawings with the grand prize drawing of $3,000. Tickets are $100 per couple. To reserve your table, call 413-256-6181. And you can find a complete listing of upcoming events at iobserve.org. If you would like to send us a notice of your event, our address is Catholic Communications, Box 1730, Springfield, Massachusetts 01102, or email calendar@diospringfield.org.
Pope Francis Pratt, Our Legacy Reimagined.
Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. I didn't care what they grew up to be as long as they were happy. To give up marriage and children just seems like too much to walk away from.
He seems to think he's making a real difference in people's lives, and he's so happy. Isn't that what's most important?
I never would have imagined our son as a Catholic priest.
Finally, as we close out the formal Christmas season, a story of a simple flame, one that's made its way around the world from Bethlehem to across the United States. The efforts of a Pembroke, Massachusetts man to deliver a glowing message of peace and goodwill. We learn more now in this Catholic News Service story.
Make me a channel of your peace.
The fire lighting up these lanterns in Indianapolis is no ordinary flame. It was originally kindled in Bethlehem, West Bank, from the very place where Christ is believed to have been born. Worldwide, it is known as the Peace Light from Bethlehem.
I think that it's really beautiful, and I'm really happy that we came and got to see it, because we hear about Jesus being born in Bethlehem, but we never actually see anything from there or go there. So yeah, I thought that was really cool.
An Austrian child fetches the light from Bethlehem every year. Then Austrian Airlines flies the flame back to Europe and to the United States. The fire arrived in New York on December 1st, where volunteers kindled their own lanterns to spread the peace light across the country. Brian Duane drove the flame from New York all the way to Denver, Colorado, and stopped to share it at 26 different locations.
It will make it to California. The flame that I picked up and have carried this far will make it to Denver, and a gentleman will be coming from California to pick it up there.
Duane took the flame to Indianapolis and Lafayette, Indiana on December 4th.
I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study.
Scores of people gathered in both locations to light their own lanterns and take the peace light back to their own communities.
I'm Amelia, and we drove about an hour from Martinsville to get the peace light today.
Well, from here, we're going to take it down to Nashville, Indiana.
After picking up the peace light here in Lafayette today, we're going to head back to Chicago. My parish is planning a ceremony this coming Friday.
And I'll be taking it back to St. Thomas More Parish in Elgin, where a week from Thursday we will be having a ceremony as well.
I like doing this because I'm reminded that we can make the world a better place by spreading peace.
The goal of the Peace Light is to ignite hope and peace in all hearts, especially during the weeks leading up to Christmas.
I mean, part of it is the tradition and the fact that this flame has been maintained continuously at the Church of the Nativity and the Grotto for hundreds of years. It speaks to the longevity and importance of peace.
Especially in this time with so many disagreements, and really both in the church and outside of it, everybody seems to be wanting to fight and really polarizing, while the peace light is a symbol of, guys, let's come together, let's have Christ lead us and follow him in his path that he's shown for us when he was here on earth.
For many, the small flame lighting up the country is a reminder that global peace begins with small actions.
We sometimes feel overwhelmed. I know that I have from time to time when there's major conflicts going on in the Middle East or wherever it happens to be, and it's like, what can I do? Well, I can be kind and gentle to my family, my neighbors, the lady at the store, everybody else. So it's just be peace, be a vehicle of peace, be a vessel of peace.
What a touching story to help us wrap up our Christmas observance. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks so much for watching. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you who so generously donated to our Catholic Communications Christmas Appeal. We are all most grateful, and we look forward to bringing you another year of faith-filled and inspiring stories. Remember, you can find updates anytime, as well as information and news on the Catholic Church at iobserve.org. That's your one source for accurate news on the Catholic faith, iobserve.org. We also update our Facebook daily with news of what our reporters are working on. Check us out and friend us at Catholic Communications. And viewers on 22 News, we will be off next week due to NFL playoffs. Have a great week.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.